now.
Yeah, exactly.
Right now. Revamping.
Right?
We are revamping our business plans. Woo! Anyways, I can't say what's it saying.
Revamp.
Okay, we're live. Well,
Oh,
Dave, we are
we are.
live on the
Jeez.
Making Waves Mindset show.
I feel like I just fell asleep or something. Missed that little red light in the corner.
Well, welcome everyone to another fine edition of your favorite mindset entrepreneurial show.
That's right. Dream bigger, make waves, take action. That's what
Yeah.
we say.
Yeah.
If you are following us for the first time, welcome. If you are a continued follower and enjoy our show, subscribe. Make sure you subscribe so you know when
Please
the latest episodes are up, and you can listen to us on your favorite podcast streaming site or YouTube. And you can watch our famous Max Hedron heads.
See, Dave, I'm using my laptop now, which has a 2018 camera,
There you
not a
go.
2015 camera. So I'm
more.
okay. I'm in the frame, so
You're
you
in
can see
high
my
definition.
luscious face. I get out of here, Jesus.
Well, if you're enjoying the show, share. If you don't enjoy the show, as I always say, share it anyways.
Absolutely.
Someone might enjoy what we're talking about, and leave us a review, please.
If it is your first, sorry, Dave.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, if it's your first time listening and finding the Making Waves Mindset show, we are a mindset show. We want you to take action in life. You have to dream bigger. You have to make waves. You have to cause change in your life in order to get things done. So it's taking action. And that's what we want to do. And for Dave and I, we left the 9 to 5. We talk about the struggles, the up and downhill battles of being your own boss. And through that journey, we want to share with you the good, the bad, the ugly, and things that we have learned from our personal journey. Because Dave and I recognize no one really wants to talk about the downsides. And we've shared plenty of downsides to let you know that there is a golden path at the end of those obstacles. You just need to find a way to get through it. And you, only you, are the thing that can stop you from getting where you need and would like to be. So thank you for joining. Please write us. Please let us know. Please reach out if you have any questions or anything you want to share as a topic, and we'll bring them on along with additional guests. So, Dave, you had something interesting today, which I think ties in perfectly to what we are all dealing with, including me at the moment.
We got to play that song, Money, 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 Money.
Oh,
money.
I'm a Pink Floyd kind of a guy. I'd have the ting,
Yeah, right. That's what we have to edit right into this.
I'm making notes for editing, Dave.
What's that?
I'm making notes for editing. We're going to find that. I'll insert it here at the 2-minute mark, okay?
So I've been in business now we're going to be going on our 1-year anniversary of Stretch Lab coming up in October that we started business. We ventured into it almost 2 years ago now. In February of next year will be 2 years. I've learned a whole bunch. It's incredible actually how much you learn in different types of businesses. Having a business in California and helping run business in California, and then opening up a brick and mortar business here in Toronto, and then moving on to other types of businesses here in Toronto and other brick and mortars. You learn a lot about business operation, finances, and how to get a business going. There's a couple things that are frustrating me in relation to opening businesses. And let's just go back to why people open businesses. So why do you open a business? You want to make a living, right? You want to encourage your own personal wealth, generational wealth. You have the ability to follow a dream, follow a hobby, follow something that you really enjoy, and you want to make a business out of it. So that's one reason, right? Another reason is you want to provide jobs for people. So you want to provide an economic value to your city, to your country, to the people who live there. You want to provide jobs to them so they can make a living. And the other reason could be a service industry, right? You want to provide a service to people. You want to provide maybe healthcare or consumer services or business to business services. You want to provide a service. those are basically your main reasons for opening up a business and why you would want to open a business. So how do you do that? So I'm going to dive into a little about how you can open a business here in Canada and Toronto, and some of the obstacles that you have to go through to open those businesses. So in Canada, we have something called a small business loan, and the government of Canada provides a barrier free, in their mind, um, access to a secured fund through the banks. So the banks facilitate the money in Canada, and the government tells the banks, we're going to secure and promote small businesses to open up, and we're going to secure a certain percentage, 20% of a loan up to $500,000. And we're going to encourage people to open businesses. Fantastic. Great, great, great thing for the government to do, because as I said before, you open you open up a small business. What does it do? It encourages the economy to grow. People start spending money. Businesses help the economy grow, injecting money into the taxes. People pay for goods and services. People have jobs. All that goes to the tax bracket, and it encourages people to spend money and grow and be able to afford their lives, right? Homes, and goes on trips and stuff like that. So you make an application through the bank. So to do that, you have to have a business plan, and you go through a business banking. It's not the same type of loan that you would receive if you were applying for a mortgage, but it's a business loan. So there's stipulations that come along with that, obviously, right? Because the bank needs to be satisfied that you're not going to be taking the money and giving it to a warlord somewhere in another country, using the money for criminal activity. So I get that. I totally get that. Unfortunately, in the past, there's been frauds that have occurred because of these loans, because it's a secured percentage from the government. So people will take the money and use it for nefarious reasons. So because of that, they've really tightened their belt in relation to scrutinizing applications. So you have to have a certain personal net worth. Not only do you have to have a certain personal net worth, you have to have a certain amount of money as liquid cash down just to afford the loan.
What about collateral, Dave?
Yeah, yeah. So
It's another thing you
personal net
bring up,
worth, right? That's
personal
the
net
personal net
worth and
worth, right? So they
assets.
calculate your personal net worth. They calculate how much liquid cash. So it's all works on a percentage. So if you were just to simply look at it, there's 20% is secured by the government. That leaves 80%. There's a certain percentage that you have to put down, 30%, and then the rest is covered by the bank. And it's of the entire loan. So if you, let's say you need $100,000, you're looking at percentages of that you have to have liquid capital of. So because it asks, you can ask up to $500,000, you can potentially make a business plan and open up a business worth $500,000 and get funding for that. This is the problem I'm having. This is the problem I have with the whole system. They won't give you a dime of that funding until you have certain things in place. So those certain things are the following. If it's brick and mortar, you require a lease or a purchase of the property. You also require quotes from your general contractor. To negotiate the lease, to negotiate the contractor, you have to actually sign a lease. You will not get a funding until you actually get your lease.
But Dave, what if you need to have capital to support that and they then deny your business loan, right? I can
That's
see the headache and the worry
that's
that is caused
exactly
by that,
exactly right. So you basically have to have liquid capital to fund your whole project,
even if it
because
doesn't
you can,
launch.
even if it doesn't launch,
Right.
because you basically have to start your business and start construction because the timelines don't line up.
Yeah.
Most properties you go to will give you something called rent free. So Basically, they'll say, okay, first and last deposit, just like you would if you're renting something. And then they'll give you a certain amount of months for tenant improvement. Some places give you tenant improvement dollars, actually. You go to the landlord and you negotiate money towards improving the property, like building out your business, like a washroom. You're not, if you close down your business, you're not taking your washroom with you, it stays there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
sometimes they'll give you improvement dollars. If they don't give you improvement dollars, most places will give you rent free. So they'll say, while you're building out your business, we're not going to charge you rent.
And that's a good landlord.
Great
That's
landlord. Yeah.
that's good if you can find someone in the commercial space to do that. Good. I wanted to add there too, Dave, from our real estate investing background. The other thing too is sometimes they want to see that you have the capital to support the lease,
Right.
especially for commercial assets. So I can see the additional worry of, well, what if it's denied? You didn't get the loan. Now you're trying to show you have capital that might
Mhm.
not be there because it's critical to other parts of the business. So
Right.
there's a lot, but
Right.
that's good strategy, finding something that could be rent free or an improvement.
So you do have rent free, right? So you
Yeah.
have 5 months, let's say, 2 months,
Commercial
3
lease.
months, commercial lease. So then you sign you on the dotted line and you start the process immediately with the bank. Well, the bank takes at least 3 weeks minimum. That's if they stay on the ball. Takes 3 weeks minimum.
And nobody's on vacation.
Right. So you don't have the funding yet, but you're now wasting your time with your free rent, and your contractor needs to start.
Mhm.
So you've now wasted at least a month minimum,
Money, 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 money.
right? Do you see the problem here? And let's say you get through the process and you're already a month into it. So you tell your contractor to start or not to start. And then once your contractor starts, you have to start paying them.
Mm,
So then what do? If you don't have the liquid capital, if you don't have the capital to support it, how are you going to pay your contractor? You can't tell your contractor, I can't pay you. They have to start the work. You have to get the work done, because if you get through the process of the 5 months and or 2 months or 3 months or however how much free rent you have, and you don't have your funding, then you can't open your business.
yeah.
Can't pay your contractor, your trades, whatever you have to do to build the place. The issue I'm having is it's not like, buying a home. No one would ever go and buy a home if they weren't pre-authorized for a mortgage. The business loan world will not pre-authorize you for a loan. They will not give you a document that says, "Yes, you're good." They give you something called the discussion paper. The discussion paper says, "Hypothetically, you're okay. Here's what the terms are gonna be. Here's the amount that you're asking for based on your business plan. Here's what our terms are. Here's the process. Here's the fees. Here's everything. Do you accept it?" "Yes, I accept it." But it's not an approval. It still needs to go to a credit team. It still needs to go to the underwriters, and it still needs to be officially approved. Then it needs to get funded. That whole process takes 3 months or 3 weeks to a month, at least minimum. And because they don't line up, how do you open your business? You have to basically either A, have liquid capital, or just make a wish and hope. And hope that
Make a
it's gonna
wish. Yeah.
and hope that it's gonna come through. There shouldn't be any reason, right? The banker that you're working with, when you give them your business plan, should work with that and say, "Yeah," but ultimately, it's not an official loan until you actually get going,
It's crazy.
right? So we're in the process of building our second studio,
And you're rerunning into these. It's
and
like
we're
a
running into
blast
this
from the
issue.
past.
Yeah.
Oh,
So we went through it the first one. I didn't think anything of it. I said, "Oh, well, the first one went
easy
through.
peasy.
That was a bit of a process, but we got through it." So I'm like, "Oh, okay, the second one will work out." This one has been more of an issue, because when you're dealing with something like someone going on vacation, when you're dealing with maybe a different person who doesn't do their job properly, delays, delays, delays.
Has there been any headache to the fact that you already have the business established and they're trying to see now, can you balance two? Because that's always the thing.
They
Is
don't
there,
they don't care.
they don't care. They're still,
They
yeah.
don't care. It's a different business. So to get a loan, small business loan, to qualify for it, you have to open up a different business. even though it's the same type of business.
But they're not worried about like debt being, oh, you just received the loan, that's
it goes
good. But
back.
that's a good thing though.
It's a good thing, except they don't care about your business. They care about what you personally are worth.
Of course.
So it's your personal net worth rather than your business. So your business could be making billions, millions of dollars. Let's talk realistically. Your business can be $1 million business. It doesn't affect you. It doesn't go well for you. It doesn't go bad for you. Doesn't matter because it's your personal net worth that they're more concerned with.
So some of you may be wondering how to increase your net worth. And what I can share is you need to buy assets. You need to have property. You need
Yeah.
to start now.
Or liquid.
Um, liquid, absolutely. Liquid helps. Absolutely.
If you see, this is what kills me. You can have assets, you can have investments, all that kind of stuff. They only look at it as percentages of those.
Correct.
But if you actually have $1 million in the bank, that's your net worth.
That's good. Yeah, that's good. These are things that you can do to build. So one of the strategies that we did was we were real estate investors from 2018. So it was acquiring properties, building up net worth in terms of assets, liquidating properties or doing flips to properties to then create capital. And I can share from a US perspective what we're doing. And there are kind of two different ways down there. But Dave's right. These are things that are critical. And if you don't have the net worth, you're going to run into roadblocks trying to secure financing in Canada, even in the US to an extent. So it's a challenge because I think everyone maybe feels defeated based on our current housing strangle in Canada, that we have way too many people here, not enough property available for people to live. And so this is causing this demand. Interest rates are going through the roof. Then it pushes people in a position where they're not able to afford anything. So yeah, partner pool, create the net worth, start now. Maybe you want to get into business, but you go, I gotta wait 5 years. I'm enjoying what I'm doing in the 9 to 5. That's fine. Start being strategic now if you can. Build the capital and or start acquiring property so you can have things that you can use as collateral and anchor for your net worth.
Yeah. The one thing I would suggest is think of strategic partners as well. If you're wanting to open up a business beyond your net worth, then think of that. It frustrates me to the point that it just, we sit here and talk about business and pushing people into business out of the 9 to 5 and stuff like that. We made that. I just find that this process of opening up a business is not, they don't make it easy. And everyone could say, if it was easy, everyone would do it.
Yeah.
And it's frustrating to the point that, what do we want as a society? Do we want small business owners? Then why are we making it such hoops and hurdles to get going?
I think to your point, there's kind of two types of people. You either happen to have all that liquidity, right? Or you're relying on the government to support and subsidize you for a loan.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with that. The smartest people in the world, they create good debts, and these are good debts. Borrowing, low interest rates, reinvesting that money into their business. Again, it's a chapter out of our book as real estate investors. It doesn't make sense for you to deploy all your capital into something and deplete your net worth and deplete your liquidity. And it's funny because I can share a story about that down here, but that is a challenge. So either you just happen to have, and I've had people say to me, Dave, like, oh, old money. Have you ever heard of that term, old money, before?
Yeah.
Okay, so for those who don't know, I had to be educated on this a year and a half ago. I have some friends in the West, and it's a phrase that they talk about families with generational wealth.
Right.
And that they are of the opinion that their kids today haven't had to do anything in order to obtain that money. Their parents, their grandparents just did very well, so they got the money. And I don't like hearing that term. I think there's, sure, maybe if the family had business, you were a part of it as a youngster and you were in there, great. But a lot of people just think that, oh, life is easy, money's handed to you. It doesn't work like that. You need to put the effort into things. I understand families go into business together and they do stuff. That's great. But that's part of the chapter is to, I don't want to speak for Dave, but for me, it's creating generational wealth, building things. My family was never entrepreneurial. None of the people were. They immigrants to Canada. Everyone was into their jobs, the 9 to 5, the pensions. Nobody was doing anything in the business space. But if you happen to have that old money, as they say, sure. If not, you are relying on loans, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
Or if you get strategic and you find a money partner or an investor, that's a whole other level.
Right.
So take a step back. There are things that you can do to work on investments, and Dave's familiar with one, but things like even your pension. If you do leave the 9 to 5, you can have your pension reinvested into things where people can borrow that money at cheaper rates than they would at your traditional bank. So you then become a money partner. I am a money partner for somebody right now who needs money for their major investment. So there's so many things when you get into it, but down to the basics of what Dave and I are talking today. Yeah, those are some scary challenges. Is you got to put like the cart ahead of the horse a little bit, to see if you have the skin in the game. And that's what they're looking for. What's your skin in the game?
Yeah, definitely.
I went on a tangent.
Yeah, no, tangents are good because,
but it's just got the information flowing to let people know there's so many different things you can do. But the basics of trying to leave is have that net worth. Dave shared his Canadian edition. Insert beaver crossing the screen.
And there's other avenues, as you were alluding to. There's private equity, there's investors, there's a whole bunch of other ways to obtain money for businesses. This is just the one avenue that we decided to venture into, which stay with us, because I think I'm teeter-tottering on private equity for the next venture.
Good for you.
Yeah, I'm teeter-tottering on it. I don't know that the banks. We'll see. We'll see where it goes. But I don't want to talk about the cart before the horse. But we'll see. The next business venture that we get into, we'll definitely update the Making Waves crew tribe and let you know what we're doing. But we're gonna potentially venture into the private equity forum, see what's out there.
Do it.
Yeah.
That'll be exciting. One of my dreams, Dave, has been, it's on my board, is to have a capital. It's kind of like a MIC, but not a MIC. It's a way to help investors on the real estate side. But the challenges that we've run into in the US for our business startup is now like, okay, now I want to get into a pool and do something to help other people. And so I've had, I was telling you earlier, that connection down with the chamber. So it's like there's ideas, but not right now. I got to figure out other things and
sure
get things going.
A buddy of mine opened up a private equity company, and they just buy small businesses and fund small businesses and stuff like that. And I'm like, I could see myself doing that in the future. Definitely. If I have
100%.
a large fund of money.
It's coming. I can see it.
We'll get there.
Moskowitz and Co.
We'll get there one day. One day we'll get there. To give back to people and make it easier for them to open businesses, I think that would be an amazing thing to do.
So to your point,
see the economy grow.
100%. So this is one of the struggles that we've had going to the US. So the long and the short was high net worth, liquidity available, decided to make the purchase on a franchise. We make the purchase, we get the ball going, real estate market changes because now liquidity has been deployed. We need to liquidate some assets. Interest rates scream up in Canada. Nobody wants to buy homes. We're having a weird economic spot. So literally the last quarter of our business plan is now deploying capital for startup. And so we've run into this hurdle where we have been delayed in opening our business. But there's been some other things beyond our control on a naming rights issue and stuff like that. It has nothing to do with us. It's to do with the state that had to be dealt with. But simultaneously, this was also a significant roadblock. So going through this challenge, and I've literally been talking to lenders and people on the phone the last several weeks, I'd like to create a fund and a way to give back to other businesses. And I had an incredible conversation the other day with a chamber of commerce that specializes in dealing with Canadians, essentially run by Canadians who now live in the US, about finding ways to give back. and I'm somebody that wants to give back. I always give back. It will be exciting to see our doors open, get our business going, but then find a way to help the chamber and help other Canadians who are in this weird spot of trying to open a business in the US. So this ties into the show perfectly because there's kind of two ways that you can open a business in the US. One, if you're an American citizen, you get an SBA loan. It's called Small Business Administration Loan. And unlike what Dave said in Canada, that's actually given to you by the government. It's done through the bank, but it's directly from the government. Where in Canada, Dave, you were explaining it's kind of funded through the banks, but they get secured capital from the government.
That's right.
Okay. So the SBA gives a small business loan, have a business plan, very similar things. I'm not a citizen of the US, so I have to work with other hurdles. I'm an investor in the US. So as an investor in the US, I have to look at various pieces of criteria. And one of them, unfortunately, is dealing a lot with capital, which is why I was kind of laughing earlier, because you can't get an SBA loan. You need to have additional capital. So additional capital that was already deployed and already projected to be set aside was no longer there. So we're in this weird spot of now working with a money partner. If you happen to be a money partner or capital investor, reach out to Richard DiBiase, please. So we have to work with somebody who has additional capital. And I know from 2018, when I started with investing in real estate, there is so much money out there. And it's very hard to have these conversations with people who are unwilling to take risk. They're comfortable in the 9 to 5. They don't understand. They go, that old money conversation comes up all the time. Old money, it's available. Old money. I'm like, no. There aren't wealthy families. There are wealthy people, and they're willing to help you. You need to find them in your network. You need to show them who you are, that they can trust you. You have a plan. You have to build rapport. So we have to look for some of those strategies as well. There are other things that we can do, but from a high level point, really, it's an SBA loan. You have to be a resident, or you're having to bring like pure capital down because you can't exactly open a business in the US overnight. So we've been dealing with that. And it's been a challenge, but it's like, hey, how can we help other people? Like, let's do this amongst other things. Let's try to find a fund or support a fund that might exist to fund other people. Because that was one of the conversations. The person goes, well, Richard, I don't know anyone right now, but like, let me think about this. There's somebody down here and people have capital sitting. We'll come up with a return, a balloon payment, an interest, whatever you want to make sure that capital's returned, plus a thank you for all your time.
There are people out there, I'm sure there are, and this is the part of business that I don't know yet.
It's exciting though. It's exciting because you're learning so many new things, right?
And this is why it's a journey for me and you in terms of like learning about business. I'm sure there's people out there who are either watching or listening to us saying, "Oh, just go to so and so," or "Just go this way, just go this way."
You know those people, let me know.
Definitely. Because there's got to be somebody in the business world that does this. We just haven't come across them yet, and we just haven't found that avenue yet. But if you are following us, we will let you know.
100%.
Definitely. But it is an issue. It is something that you have to prepare for. So for those of you who are thinking of making the decision to leave the 9 to 5, thinking of going into business, think of these things ahead of time. Ensure that you have the net worth that's going to support your debt income ratio. Is what, just like if you were to apply for a mortgage, very similar to that, except they want liquid capital as well. So
I want to stress, you're right, Dave. And I want to stress in there, as what I said at the beginning of the show, you are the only thing stopping you from accomplishing what you want to accomplish. And I could have easily said, this is not going to work, immediately go, I'm done, I'm out, I'm finished. But I think that shows to the credence of who Dave and I are on the show. We're talking about the downs. We're letting you know our personal journeys of small business, building an economy, trying to employ people, creating a life. If I said no and gave up, we wouldn't be anywhere. So the fact that we keep pushing forward, yes, there's been a lot of no's. We literally had a contingency plan, contingency budgets. Things don't go according to what you thought they were going to go. It's like the worst of worst case scenarios. We've experienced that as investors in real estate. We've seen the damage that happens with the economy. We know what happens when there's demand for rentals, and then you have tenants that don't want to pay. Like, we know these things. If you just gave up, you wouldn't have learned from those experiences and those journeys. So keep pushing forward. There's a lot of great material out there. Dave and I are always happy to connect and share at least what we know. We're an educational show. We're not a legal show. Go seek legal expert guidance and advice, especially if you want to do cross-border stuff. Find an attorney, find a lawyer, find an accountant, whatever you need to do to answer something that's very specific for your case. And just believe in yourself, because you can do it. Because otherwise I'd be, Dave, we closed the Making Waves. Actually, hold on, Dave. The Making Waves Mindset Show is 3.
Yes.
And we forgot that.
That's
Man, like we
right,
could have
I
stopped the
forgot.
show 2 years ago if we gave
That's
up. Like,
right,
oh,
I
it's too
forgot.
hard.
It's funny because once you dive into the world of business, you start learning about other business owners and their
Yes.
journeys and what they went on. I've spoken to a lot of people who are very wealthy in business and because of business, but they all have stories of the times where they were either going to go bankrupt,
Yeah,
and they were actually going to lose all their money,
yeah,
and something turned and they were able to
make it work.
So
That's what you want to be. That success story. You want to have that mindset. You just have to keep pushing forward. You can't stop. Otherwise, I'd be like, Dave, we're closing the show. I can't be here.
that's right.
It's too hard. It's too hard. The struggle. Well, trust me, it's hard. There's been sleepless nights. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
But we've already built one business. We're going to go on to the next. We're going to make it work. We're going to figure it out.
You got it.
Dave,
Awesome.
I don't want to put you on the spot, but I want to give listeners an opportunity if they're reading books. I got a book here. It's called The E-Myth by Mike Gerber. I've heard about this book religiously, especially in the business space, leadership, marketing, money management, lead generation, everything that I think all of you should be looking into. Michael has created a series of books, and it is instrumental on creating your mindset to be working on the business, not in the business, and believing yourself. And it could be that next step.
Yeah.
Where the show to get you from the 9 to 5. Read the book, The E-Myth. There are, like I said, several versions, several editions, several specialties he's done. Find one, start reading it and understanding the mindset. It is incredible to get you going where you need to go. You need support, and sometimes it comes from the books.
It's a good way.
So
good. I got to read that
way
one.
to close it out. Yeah, I frickin' encourage. Yeah, you're gonna love this book.
The last book I read just recently was Make Your Bed.
Oh, Make Your Bed.
Yeah, it's a great book. I think if I have it here.
Make your bed. Spray citrus lemon.
Where do I have it?
Iron your crisp white sheets.
Taking it out of my bag. I put it somewhere. It's I can't remember.
I think it'd be like a mental discipline. That's what I'm getting at. It making a bed is like a discipline
definitely a discipline. What's so it's a guy from the Navy.
As Dave finds that, I'm going to dive back. So we, the juices are flowing. 3 years making waves. We completely forgot that our show has been on the making wave. We're in season 3, and we should have announced this in the spring. And
we should have.
It wasn't until we were looking at our analytics and our data, and I was doing the editing behind the scenes, and I look at it, it's like, congratulations. It was like, what? And I saw the first episode when it came out. So listen, thank you, all of you. We continue to have listeners and followers from around the world. We see from Europe to Asia to Latin America, North America, all points in between. And it's been exciting. We're not spending oodles of dollars on marketing the show. We just want to share our stuff organically. And if it clicks, it clicks. Or as Dave says, if you don't like it, still share it. Somebody will like it. And, Dave and I up to be world travelers, man. You want us to come down to Asia, to Europe? We'll be there. We'll be there to support you and be at your conference as keynotes. We'll do something, right?
Yes. I loved Asia. Singapore, great place. So this book, it's called Make Your Bed. It's by Admiral William H. McRaven, an ex-Navy SEAL. And the book is based on a speech he did. And ultimately what it is a mindset to get into and an accomplishment. So he talks about making your bed every day, getting up and making that one thing that you've accomplished, that when you get home every day, you can say, okay, I've accomplished at least that, made my bed. So it was just a different way of thinking and creating that winning mindset. So we talk about mindset a lot here, and we talk about, always moving forward, not taking no. He broke it down to starting your day off by making your bed, meaning you've overcome that one challenge of you made your bed. It's awesome. Move on to the next challenge. Win that one. Move on to the next challenge. Win that one. So on and so forth. And continue forward. And then at the end of the day, you can look back and you can say, all these little wins, I got to the place that I wanted to get to.
Well, we've discussed that 100 times on the show. We've had so many guests speak. It's the little wins every day that you can look at that you think are nothing, but actually give you the perseverance. And I think we get lost in like motivation too a little bit. Everyone, well, I need the motivation. Well, motivation is like the gas in a car. When the gas is out and it's finished and you can't move the car, what happens? It's that little discipline every day of making that bed. And again, I haven't read the book, but celebrating those small wins that shows like, hey, these good habits lead to success. So you can't rely on motivation. I've had people reach out going, I need motivation. I'm like, okay, I can give you motivation. It's going to put helium in your head for 5 minutes. But what are you going to do when the phone call ends? What are you going to do after that discussion? Right. It's those little wins that Dave's getting at. You have to, and that, Dave, for some people might not be making the bed, but it's every morning they exercise.
Yes.
It's every day they're tracking the calories. It's every day they're reading 10 pages of a book, whatever it is that you need to do. Little wins. So,
yeah.
Okay.
Awesome.
Dave, where can our listeners find you?
Find me on, just come find me.
At Stretch Lab It.
That's right. You can find me at, you follow us. Yeah, that's a good point, actually. Plug our businesses.
Plug it. Do it.
Find me.
You built it on the show, right?
I know.
It's a success story.
Toronto, Stretch Lab Toronto downtown, and now Stretch Lab Toronto West. 2 locations. You won't find me there every day, but you can come on down for a stretch. You'll really enjoy the one-on-one assisted stretching. And you can find me on Instagram, David A. Moskowitz, or LinkedIn.
You can find yours truly on LinkedIn, Richard DiBiase, and Instagram at Richard DiBiase. No fancy plugs for me just yet, unless you're in the southern state of Florida soon.
Soon.
All right, everyone, continue to make waves, dream bigger, make waves, and take action. And we'll talk to you on our next episode.